Well, what's a national park visit without seeing a visitor center, right? Let's go see, I think it's called Rio Grande Village. There's a visitor center, a little store, camping areas, RV area. Let's check it out before we go see something else. Just don't fall down. Ah. Pay attention. Right, we're headed to a place called Boquillas Overlook. There's also Boquillas Crossing up ahead. And just as an aside, there's nothing to see at the visitor center over on this part of the park, so we'll skip that. But Boquillas Crossing is where you can cross over into Mexico. I'm not going to do it, obviously. I don't have a passport. But interesting story. I heard the raft guide earlier today. The town of Boquillas over here, prior to 9/11, people were come and go whenever they please, and then in 9/11 they closed the border down, and the town of Boquillas couldn't get their resupplies from the American side anymore, and couldn't get their electricity, couldn't get nothing. And so now, in order to get their stuff, it's like 2 to 3 hour dusty, bumpy dirt road south into Mexico to get all their supplies. But anyway, that's Boquillas, Mexico, and then it's Boquillas Overlook. Looks over the Rio Grande, and then there's also a ore. Oh, look, there it is right there. There's also an ore exhibit too, so let's see what we find. Okay, take a look at this. It's called the Boquillas Overlook. Let me show you something here. Don't use that. So here's where the Rio Grande comes in from the west here. Take a look at this. It's coming in from the west, and then as you can see, it flows here to and gets stopped by these mountains called the Boquillas del Carmen, I believe. And so what happened here is that the river got stopped by the mountains, tried to find out a way what to do, how to get through, and eventually made a right turn, and it cuts through the mountains right there, and then eventually eroded its way through into a little canyon that then follows with steep walls as it continues easterly. It's amazing what erosion and water can do over years and years. But yeah, take a look at this again. Just flowing, doing its thing, nice and easy, and then boom, mountains stop it. Say, hey, what? Got to turn right and go through, and then there's a gorge that it actually goes through to get further on downstream. Alright, so it's the Boquillas Overlook here in Big Bend. And then I mentioned to you the town of Boquillas del Carmen. It's actually right over there on the other side. Up and over the ridge there, you can see the tops of the roofs there. But here's something interesting too. See these guys hanging out in the trucks on the other side of the river? So what they do, they're actually vendors, and you can't legally go across and buy stuff from them, and they can't legally come across and buy stuff and sell stuff to you. But they got a whole bunch of trinkets and stuff just sitting right here in the parking area, and they're $10 each, and they say, hey, just leave a $10 donation in the little in the little can, take your thing, and that's how they get away with it, I guess. But technically, each day when they cross over, it's not totally legal. But oh well. I guess the Border Patrol, the National Park Service looks the other way, since again the town is for the most part cut off. It's not cut off from the rest of Mexico, but it's not the easiest of drives to get into where they need to go. All right, just a short hop, skip, and a jump away from the overlook. Right over there. But what I want to show you here is this. Looks like a whole bunch of nothing right here, right now, right? Well, take a look at this right here. So that's the foundation of an aerial tramway that stretched from the Mexico side and stretched for 6 miles. There were 4 6-mile long steel cables that were supported on wooden towers. I'll show you a picture here. And it went for 6 miles, carrying 70 tons of ore at a time, offloaded in a place called Ernst Valley, just right back this way, 6 miles away, and then loaded onto trucks or mule trains. This was back in 1915. And then trucked or taken by mule train up to the town of Marathon to the railroad, and then from there on the railroad to points where it needed to go to get processed. But think of that. Back in 1915, and for 4 years this operated. Back in 1915, that was the technology that existed in transporting ore where it needed to go. And think of all the man hours and how they had to do that. You know, not all the automated processes today. Well, they have some automated processes, but not like we have today. Making not only one 6-mile long steel cable, but actually making 4 of them, stringing them along towers to transport ore 6 miles and then driven 78 miles to the railroad. And here's one of the buckets that carried the ore. These were just strung along that whole 6-mile string. Huh. Now, what kind of ore was it that you ask that they were doing? Was zinc and lead and silver. Over in Terlingua, when I passed that the other day, a lot of that mining over there was quicksilver. And if you know your metallurgy or if you know your chemistry, quicksilver is another name for, what'd you say? Mercury. They extract mercury from quicksilver. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff. Okay, let's head on to wherever it is we're going to head on to. Good morning. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but take a look at the orange glow that's all around from the sunrise and the clouds bouncing off the sun bouncing off the clouds. And take a look at this over here. The orange glow. It's almost like being on Mars. The orange glow from the clouds behind me are casting this orange hue on everything. Huh. on Mars, man. But anyway, yeah, Santa Elena Canyon. Let's go. Wow, look at that. Let's go see if we can take a look at that. Right back there. But then again, we gotta look at this one more time. Ooh, look at that. Oops. All right. I think it's gonna be one of those sultry days, right? Huh. Oh, and before we head back down, I'm able to look up the canyon. Let me show you. You could actually walk upstream a little bit. Looks like you have your own private picnic area. I'll show you here. Look.